Thank you there, Samantha. Now, Australia were eventually bowled out for 179 with Marnus Labuschagne. I'd like to call him Labuskaghni. Top scoring with 71 and David Warner finding some form with the bat. 61. England seamer Jofra Archer was once again on top notch. Another 5-4. That's a wicket haul with figures of 6 for 45. Well, we'll continue speaking that all things cricket. Lunga Kupiso joins us right now. A lot has been said about England's short balls, antics, second Ashes at Lord's. Lunga, let's start with this match currently underway. It's topsy-turvy. You've got to love the cricket. I mean, the past couple of days, the first 2 Ashes Test matches, this is the third one. It's been interesting, isn't it? Yeah,
been interesting. Cricket really played at high intensity. The introduction of Jofra Archer in the second one seemed to be turning things around for the English. And Australia seemed to struggle to deal with, his delivery of pace, just pure, authentic, genuine pace, being bowled at good lengths. And they just, I guess, when you have a Mitchell Starc and you have a Pat Cummins, you have a Josh Hazlewood, you are spoiled for choice. But what we don't take into consideration is, what would the Proteas fare like if they were to face a Kagiso Rabada?
That's the question.
Yes. And here now, they've had the opportunity to play against a Jofra Archer who's bowling... I want to call them beamers, but they're not beamers. They just...
We should have seen it, though, during the World Cup when we faced him. I mean, little known. Frankly, if I'm a a West Indies cricket fan, I'd be like, geez, why did we let him go? Little known, so to speak, when he came onto the platform as we are now. But so far, he's been, pound for pound, I think he's probably one of the best seamers currently on form with their cricket ball, and we're going to face them soon.
Yeah, well, December is just around the corner, but the difference between white ball cricket and red ball cricket is vast. So I got the opportunity to watch him in the Big Bash League in Australia, and I must confess, when I saw him, I thought, yeah, great bowler, fantastic speeds, but it doesn't look that difficult to play. But with red leather, it's a different conversation. Totally, because you are now taking into consideration swing. You're moving away from a kookaburra, which is played in an ICC competition, into a duke. A duke in English conditions is going to swing way more than it would, and it carries, more bounce than a usual kooka would, and also in English conditions. So there are a lot of variants that you need to take into consideration. So as much as they would have prepared going out of the World Cup into the Ashes, it's a different story when it comes to red ball.
South Africa. Let's speak about, there's so much to speak about with cricket. But let's start with South Africa before we go delve much into the incoming series with the English as well as the Aussies. We're going to India. We've got new bosses at the helm of South African cricket. Where that man, he's done well. He deserves the call-up as far as I'm concerned. A short while ago, we saw the announcements of his technical staff, the guys in the change rooms, Lance Klusener amongst them. What do you make of that?
Good to see Zulu in the change room. Can we claim credit as this show that perhaps we might have twisted an arm or so, because
we'll take it,
we made a call to say that guys that really have done well in the domestic scene should be given the opportunity. I do back Enoch, I do back Lance as guys who have the skill and what it takes to be at the Proteas and in charge of the Proteas. What I do question, though, is how long is the tenure that they're given? So if they're given this trip to go to India, and depending on how they do there, then they get a contract, or they don't get a contract, then I think they're getting a sour deal.
For me as well, that was a bit, I'm not quite sure what to make of it. You go in there, you say, why not give them the whole summer, so to speak? Why not keep them for the incoming series as well? The fact that Lance Klusener has done well, if you look at the 3, I think it's Lance who's coming as, then Vincent Barnes as well is coming in, as well as Justin Ontong helping with the fielding. So it's a new team, and if you get them to go out in India and perform and then judge them on that, I think it's a bit,
It is a bit of a raw deal for the coaching guys, but also, maybe we must shift the focus not on those guys and onto Cricket South Africa. Why are they willing to back them to go into a continent like India to hopefully do well, but they're not willing to back them with a signature on paper to say, here you go, guys, here's 4 years because you've done it on the domestic scene. Vinny Barnes, he's got a cool head under him, so, if you're Enoch, you wouldn't mind at all having a guy like Vinny Barnes in your team.
Because to be fair, taking nothing away from Vinny and Justin Ontong and Lance Klusener, they have served the game well, and they, of course, got good cricketing brains on those shoulders. But if there is no success, so to speak, in India, or the planned success, then what do we make of it?
Well, at the end of the day, if you're coaching a South African team, you're going to be judged on success. And the only thing that can be comfort to you if you are the coach that we are appointing is that you've got a contract that says you have 2 years or 4 years, which they did with Otis. They said, Otis, come in, you've got 2.5 years. At the World Cup, after that World Cup, we'll negotiate depending on how well you do. Why can't they do that in this situation? And that's all I'm bemoaning. Not bemoaning the appointment of the guys. They have what it takes. It's just the terms.
My directors tell me that we've got 1.5. I'm going to ask if we can steal about 30 more seconds, if we can do that. Let's speak about this and outgoing to India. We've spoken about that. These two, England as well as, England and Australia, the Ashes, jeez, they're coming here soon. Should we, those bounces, those balls, we have not had, I think, speed like that in a while facing South Africa's face.
It's been a while. For me, it really is a great time to be watching Jofra Archer because I've watched videos of the West Indians terrorizing an entire cricketing world, and now I get the opportunity to see this. Here's the interesting thing that I've seen in England is that the guys are not playing the shot, rather the good length from Jofra Archer, which speeds up then to look like a short delivery, playing it on the front foot. They already going there with the reluctancy, opening their front, therefore widening themselves.
And we've seen a lot of balls go to face.
Yeah, because they're not playing it on the front foot. So what you don't get, kids, if you're watching at home, is if you play on the front foot, you're making yourself smaller, that the chances of getting nailed are very slim. But if you open your front foot, you're going to get pinned. If South Africa work on that, they'll be good. They'll score runs. But if they don't, well, we're going to be found wanting.
Let me put you on the back foot right there because my director tells me our time is over. Unfortunately, Lunga Kupiso, thank you very much for joining us, right? So always a pleasure. Your stint in Australia, my guy. You went there, you commentated. The Aussies had too much fun with you down there. Unfortunately, as I said, we have to call it dibs for tonight.